Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on Unleash the Power of AI in Claims Solution. We have an exciting lineup of speakers, starting from Arno, the viewer. Could you introduce yourself, Arno?
Of course. Thank you, Rashi, for having me. First of all, I am Arno. I'm an insurance leader at AWS, based out of London.
Thank you, Arno. Next up, we have Varun Ghai, Head of Business Consulting for UK and Europe at Newgen Software. Varun, over to you.
Hi, thanks, Rashi. Hello, everyone. I'm Varun. I look after business and consulting for Newgen in Europe. Been engaged with multiple insurers customers, whether it's in the personal life or specialty from past 18 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Varun. Last but not the least, we have Vineet Mehta, Director, Alliances and Sales at Newgen Software. Over to you, Vineet.
Thanks, Rashi. So I drive sales and alliances with partners in the European region, and AWS is one of our most strategic partners across all verticals. Today, we have taken insurance as one of the first for this month.
Okay, thank you all. Let's start the discussion. Vineet, why don't we start with you?
Sure, Rashi. So the idea behind this is that Varun and Arno were there recently in the Insurance Innovators, and there was a beautiful discussion that they had around what is it that the claims officers today are facing as a challenge, and how is it that AI is looking to address those challenges. And that's where we thought, we'll have a short discussion with the three of us and try to see what can be offered to insurers today out of the box, and how is it being done with the other organizations in the market.
Thank you, Vineet.
So Arno, over to you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So the insurance is a process where the insurer promises to indemnify the insured in case anything goes wrong. The claims process is there for the insurer to make good on that promise. The claims process needs to be efficient in order to have that trust from the insured into the insurer. So the claims process goes, if everything goes well, through a process of notifying the claim, assessing the claim, indemnifying the insured or the third party, and then closing the claim. As of 2025, the first notice of loss, that first step, is expected to be automated in about 50% of cases, which means that half of the notifications are still being keyed into systems manually and then assigned to a claims handler. That process is then followed by an assessment of damage through photos, videos, or a report from a skilled worker, such as a loss adjuster or a car repair shop. And once that damage is assessed, a decision is then made on what to repair or what to pay, followed by an authorization for that repair or that payment. And once all the settlements are done, the claims is then closed. Most of this process involves rekeying of information into a single system or multiple systems, as most insurers don't have a single claim system, but follow the claims workflow process through a multitude of systems. And all that processing of information needs to be done correctly in order to get to the right decision from a claims perspective. This is time-consuming, costly, error-prone, and thus very inefficient.
Varun, what's your thought about our challenge in claims today?
Now, see, fraud has been a challenge which has been hanging in the industry forever, right? Yeah, even when the systems were never automated. So fraud has been always been there, purposely, non-purposely, small, ethically and non-ethically. That's not the point, but fraud has been there and been reported across all avenues within the insurance, whether it's life, health, personal, commercial, marine, etc. Right? And technology has always been supporting with the increased volume of insurance, with the increased volumes of claims. Technology has been contributing in reducing as much as possible those fraud, right? While I'm sure most of us know the challenges with the fraud, but with Gen AI in picture, there are two sides of it. One is Gen AI is also leading to increase in fraudulent claims, while it also is a method of reducing fraudulent claims. So if I talk about the use of Gen AI in actually making fraudulent claims, we have seen scenarios where people are using it for fake documentation. Right, today is very easy. Like you can ask Gen AI to create a claim form or a first notice of loss form, etc. And with the right fancy or even with hard legal words embossed within it to scare away the person processing the fraud. Right, people are using it to even build synthetic identities and not just limited to their say a fake ID or a passport to be supported with that, but also using it to create their social media accounts to look it more legitimate, right? People are making deep fake media. I have seen about a car accident, and there was a media news about that car accident, right, which never happened, right? So to that level, there are scenarios where Gen AI has been used to generate fraudulent claims. So this is one side. On the other side, Gen AI also has an answer to it, right? While from a standard technology and all, we have been training models, we have been training algorithms, we have been using external data to reduce as much fraud as we could, right? However, in modern time, we have also seen that using Gen AI, organizations are building, say, for example, synthetic data, which can be used to run any fraudulent data model set, etc., and train it better, right? In better document analysis, right? Another very good example where Gen AI can help in analyzing various types of document if there is any fraud, or even creating a quick summary. So from an efficiency perspective, Arno was mentioning in his previous point, it can also be used in analysis of the documents. If I'm a claim officer and somebody has sent me like a 50-page claim document with all the story about it, I can use Gen AI to run a quick analysis and give me the key points out of it, that what are applicable, what is the date, what are the possibilities of loss, etc. Right? We can also use it for claimant profiling or even data integration with multiple sources. Right? So to summarize, fraud has been prevailing like forever. Technology has been supporting. Gen AI has increased and decreased the problem on the both the side, but there are methods and tools which technology companies or insurers have been adopting to support the industry.
Similar to this on the claims decision. So claims for any organization is very critical. It hangs right in the middle of balancing between customer satisfaction and potential monetary loss from a wrong decision. The challenge there is actually accuracy. So how do you segregate for your key problem statements, ranging from how do you validate against historic claims? How can your risk assessment intelligence be built into a way that it helps your decision process by default? What are the sources of information that are critical, which can help build a rich risk profile, which in turn will help you make a faster decision, a better decision, maybe an automated decision as well? And how can you ensure that your team, which is trying to do all of this in a single system, how do they have access to a single cockpit view with all of the information flowing in, all of this AI element kicked in, and they are able to make a better decision out of the information that they have?
Okay. And the next challenge there is personalized communication. Uh, an insurer doesn't normally have many touch points with the actual insured. Normally, it is when the policy is being set up, potentially when a policy is changed, and then at the renewal process. In fact, the most times that an insurer will talk to an insured is actually when a claim is being made. And personalized communication is important there to, again, have that trust with the claimant. And it's normal for a claimant to submit a claim either via a call to a call center or to fill in a form and submit that online, and then to not hear anything for a while. So in order for the customer then to find out what's happening, they often have to call a call center, are going to have to identify themselves, go through a process of what is your name, what's your address, what's your date of birth, and then the operator for the call center will normally only see what's in the system, so won't actually understand what the situation is that the claimant is in. They'll simply see, oh, the claim is in this stage of the process, this is what the next stage is, and wait for that process to finish. That is no longer good enough. In order to really feel appreciated, someone who has a claim wants to have that idea that an insurer knows what they're going through, knows what the right solution is, and not just from a timeliness, but also from a correct decision making. For example, if you have a loss because your phone broke, you want the claims handler to know whether you use an iPhone or an Android. So not to be able to be given a choice which doesn't make any sense to you. Where that is something that is still very difficult for a lot of insurers.
In terms of faster claim processing and triaging routing within the insurance, right? It has always been a struggle. Predominantly, one and most common is that within multiple carriers or insurers, the data has been segregated into multiple buckets or silos or different systems, right? If somebody has to run an analysis or run a claim, right? There has to be multiple touch points analyzing the data across different systems, etc. Data accuracy has always been a challenge, right? Most of the time when the claims have been received, even in the FNOL, the data is incomplete. Customers don't provide all the information. At times they miss a lot of that content, or they miss any supporting document which is relevant against the type of the claim they are making. And this leads to further action, manual action, going back and forth between the processor and the customer, and leading to a lot of delays, right? Variety of the claims is also a common challenge. Is just, let's say, motor insurance, and within just motor insurance there are different type of claim where there is just a damage on a parked vehicle versus on a moving vehicle, versus between two vehicles, or between a human or individual, or there's a risk of, or there's a claim of loss of life, or just a simple injury, right? So the variety has been so much that there's difficulty in standardizing everything, and which leads to a lot of inefficiencies, right? Plus various legacy systems. Insurers across the world, they're still relying on legacy system. Even Arno mentioned the stats that in 2025, just 50% of the claims will be automated, right? From the FNOL submission perspective, right? Still, there's a huge scope of transformation and adding efficiencies within the organizations, right? Scalability across the teams, across different processing times, especially when there are peak times, right? The month end, quarter end, etc., where the volumes for different types of complex claims are very high, right? And then there are various like what we have been talking like about the fraudulent claims, which also leads to a lot of inefficiencies. So from a technology perspective, there's a lot of scope to transform from automation and efficiency perspective. The use of Gen AI, use of workflow automation, use of intelligent tools or machine learning based tool which can do analysis on the content can help insurers in faster processing. And not the least, the regulatory compliance has also been challenged, right? New compliances come in, right? If we know, see now there's a new compliance within Europe, and it's actually globally applicable DORA, right? Which adds all those complexities to the insurers, right? So GDPR comes in, the information protection. Now, while GDPR is in trust of the individuals or citizens, but on the other hand, it restricts usage of their data for doing efficient processing or running any fraud analytics on the content, right? Because of the data protection. So with these things, there are definitely a lot of challenges, but there is a huge scope using of process automation, ops transformation, and use of Gen AI in today's world in adding efficiencies and faster claim processing.
Thanks, Varun. So this is what we were also discussing the other day, that AI has enabled a lot of solutions across the entire chain of claims management. And as you spoke, fraud is something which is both being brought down and being brought up by Gen AI at the same time. Similarly, there are also other ways of how organizations have adopted AI in addressing their claims management problems. Like one of the organizations, they have focused very heavily on the first part, which is the FNOL. They have spent a lot of effort trying to build in models where you have the extraction of the images and documents done at the first step, even before it hits your first human touch point. And the intent is that how can you bring that into your first time right philosophy of enabling both a claim at a faster pace and ensuring that it is not being processed the wrong way. Arno, what's your thought about this?
IDP, intelligent document processing, is actually the easiest way to get started with generative AI in the claims handling process. A lot of claims are still being submitted by the claimant submitting a form. If you look at medical insurance, for example, you see that it's often a written form or a typed-in form that is being sent to an insurer. And to be able to ingest that, intelligent document processing is really important. So services such as TaxTract are able to get that information off of a form and being able to then automatically put that into a system. But also being able to use something like recognition from an image perspective. So if someone sends a picture of a car that is parked against a tree, for example, being able to understand what is on the picture, or being able to summarize a document from a loss adjuster in case that a medical dossier needs to be read out, or even a video. All those examples fit within the intelligent document processing spiel, and that is the easiest way to get started from a generative AI perspective, because you're taking information that comes from outside of your organization and you're bringing that inside of your organization. So the hardest thing to do is to really classify your information, and you can use Comprehend for that from an Amazon perspective, to know where is your information going to go within your organization once it's been ingested. To me, that adds to then what I see as the next step, which is analyzing of vast data sets.
Correct. So, Varun, what's your take on optimizing the claim decision using the variety of data that lies outside today, right?
Yeah, so data, as we all say, has been the new oil in the world. And the good thing is, or otherwise, oil is limited, but data is unlimited, right? And it's increasing every day, right? Now, with that in mind, it is beyond a human capacity to analyze or build models, etc., with the current quantum of data available, right? So definitely technology, especially with the Gen AI in place, there is a lot of capabilities which can be utilized, right? Especially when you want to build, say, any test models, right, to analyze what kind of possible frauds could be there, right? Technology has a very good answer to that in today's time, right? Integration from distributed system. Now, while we all know there are multiple systems, but we also know that not every content is structured. There's a lot of unstructured content also available or is residing within that, right? Fraudulent claim, the historical claim documentation, right, is all unstructured content within that. How can we better utilize that in reducing fraud or faster processing, etc.? So that is where, from an integration perspective, technology today has an answer where it can map structured and unstructured content and run algorithm analysis on top of that and help a claim officer in analyzing the quantum of say a possible fraud, right, in that. In fact, other day in the same event in when we were in Denmark.
Okay.
Yeah, Copenhagen, me and Arno, and there was a very interesting solution where they were using the speech analytics with advanced AI capabilities to analyze just from a like a phone call or a speech that is there is a possibility of fraud over there. So person who is trying to claim, right, even that can be utilized to analyze whether the person is speaking lies or true, right? They have tested it. I tested out in a lot of say military grade uses, right, which we'll not discuss today. But the idea is use of that kind of technology in also analyzing possibility of fraud by the claimant is also relevant and applicable in today's scenario.
Right. So Arno, going back to the original, I think it has been quite a old problem statement, but it keeps on coming back again and again, which is the communication, right? That how can you leverage the newer ways of communicating, especially because the channels of communications are becoming more wide versus the branch-led communication which was there earlier. So how do you see AI making that entire shift in today's offer of technology?
In a sense, communication is getting easier. There is more technology available. There's more means of communication, more channels of communication that can be used. And I think we're seeing that within the whole claims process as well. Some people prefer to call their insurer, others prefer to use WhatsApp, and some prefer to use an app. And others still like to use snail mail in order to communicate with their insurance company. Now, if I limit myself to the technologically enabled ways, we're seeing that with AI, you are able to start a conversation with WhatsApp. So basically asking, am I covered for this? Then move into an app and then move into a call center. By having that digital footprint, being able to call someone without having to re-identify yourself. And once you're in a call center, the ability for a call center, for example, Amazon Connect, to be able to identify what is the policy document, what claims documents do I already have, what do I know about the customer, to be able to have that targeted conversation about what the person is really calling about. And that included with what Varun was saying, being able to use a voice to understand whether someone is happy or angry or anxious or upset is something that's important as well, because that allows the call center handler to be able to be much more empathetic to what the insured or the claimant is actually saying. And you can use AI to provide whisper support. So have a chatbot in the background talking to the call handler to be able to say, this is what the customer is saying, this is the answer to give them, and then the call handler is able to first of all verify via human in the loop to make sure that what the chatbot saying isn't nonsense, but also to actually give the right answer. So if the claimant says, can you tell me where my claim is in the process, that rather than the call handler having to go into the claim system and looking up to see where it is, that they get a message on screen saying this claim has just received a medical file, and we are having a doctor looking at what is happening. And that gives for a much quicker and a much friendlier process than having to go and spend minutes looking something up. How many times have you called the call center and they say, "Oh, our system is a little bit slow today"? You don't have to have that anymore. And those are all personalization methods that are available, and a lot of those are being driven by AI. Once you look beyond that and you say, I want to be able to give my customer updates from, oh, we have approved your claim, we have paid your claim, or you're able to pick out your new phone from our Amazon website. You can use things like pinpoint or personalize in order to be able to send those messages through the communication channel that your customer or claimant has indicated that they prefer to communicate with you with.
Yeah. And the last bit is, automating and splitting your claims into buckets, which is your low value claims, right? Which can be automated using intelligence that is available in the market through data, putting it all of together on a low code driven platform, which can utilize rules engines, right? So half of it you can look at doing as a straight through processing driven by a certain logic that's built in. And the rest of it, you can still segregate between, is this something which is an HNI for me, right? For example, is this a corporate that is trying to make a claim? Is this something which could be more complex for me, right? So you can still put all of that logic in and ensure that your top resources, the brains who are processing this, are planned for some of the most complex cases in the world, versus putting them to everything that comes through your queue. So that's what we had for today. Thank you, Arno, thank you, Varun, for making the time. And we'll look forward to meeting everyone during TinTech next month and during the month. And we'll be there in the AWS zone. And it should be an exciting one.
Okay. Thank you again for having me, Vineet and Varun.
Thank you, Arno. Thank you. It's a pleasure always talking to you. And as Vineet said, we're looking forward to meeting you again at the TinTech event.